Hey fight fans, you're listening to BTR Boxing Podcast with me, Sean Bastow, and our co-host, Geordie Neild. Before we begin the episode, there's a couple of things that I want you to do. I want you to go onto Apple Podcast, subscribe. If you're not on Apple and you're on Android instead, go to someone like Podbean or Castbox and subscribe to us on there. Find all our latest episode, like the ones to watch, like the Legendary Nights and the Life and Times of, and the new series, The Promoter Life. Also, make sure you find us on Twitter at BTR Boxing Pod and Facebook BTR Boxing Podcast. I also want to take the opportunity to give a shout out to our sponsor for the podcast, which is Bear Attack Boxing. Bear Attack Boxing are a new company in the industry who specialise in high quality boxing gloves. So I want you to go over and have a quick look at their website, which is www.bearattackboxing.co.uk. If you're looking for some new gloves for the new year, new me start, you want to get over there and get some of their high quality products. You can get a discount up until the 12th of January by entering the code BAB2019 for a discount on them high quality gloves. You can also find them at Attack Boxing on Twitter and on Facebook, Bear Attack Boxing. Enjoy the episode, fight fans. Welcome fight fans to the next episode of Ones to Watch, and today we've got Ash the Flash Lane on the episode to talk about his career in boxing to date. We're talking about his amateur background, how he got into boxing, some of the ups and downs, the mental health struggles that he's had to deal with, and the current great run that he's on at the moment, and some of the great fighters he's been in the ring with as well. And we also talk heavily in this episode about a certain particular fighter he's been in the ring with twice, and Mr. Michael Ramabelesta, great fighter himself, recently won the English title. Ash, currently the Commonwealth champion as well at super bantamweight, so there's definitely going to be a match-up with them two again, a rubber match hopefully soon. But have a listen to the episode, guys, with Ash the Flash Lane, hear about his story, make sure you go on social media, give him a follow and look out for his career going forward. Here it is, enjoy fight fans. Delighted to tell you that I've got Ashley Lane on the line. Ash the Flash Lane, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm very good, thank you, Sean. How are you, mate?
I'm good, thank you for coming on the show, Ash. It's a real pleasure to get you on and have a chat about your career, where you are at the moment and what 2019 holds. But I think what I want to find out from you first of all, really, is I've seen a lot of the fights that you've been involved in, but I didn't really know sort of what your background was coming into the sport. So I really wanted to find out from yourself what it was that drawn you into this world of boxing and the sport of boxing.
To be honest, mate, when I was a kid, I was bullied all the way through childhood. You know, I had to move schools a couple of times, and I was just shy. I had to lift, and you know, it was when I was 15. I was in just at another school, and I had a fight, and I went home with a little bit of bruised eye and a bruised lip. My mum said, you know, we got to do something about this. I tried karate, and it hadn't really worked, you know, and I was still getting into fights, and we applied for another school. I couldn't get in, you know, bit of a posh school that was. But, you know, my mum said, we need to do something. And there was a boxing club opening up a few miles down the road. They said, let's try that. And, well, you know, the story is as it is now. I mean, I started boxing because I was bullied, and it changed my life.
So you've got into the sport, and I was just touching on it at the start of the conversation about, you know, your career, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in detail. Yep. Did you have any sort of amateur background to speak of?
Yeah, I did. I started boxing just after my 15th birthday, I think it was, and I had 4 fights my first season. The next season, I think I had 16 or 17 fights. I got into the quarterfinals of the I think it was the quarterfinals of the ABAs, the Golden Belts, whatever it was called. And then I think I lost my first fight in the semi-finals. No, sorry, the quarterfinals. It was then. I lost my first fight in the quarters up in Liverpool. And yeah, I always done alright. I won my area title 3 times. I boxed against the Wales select team a few times. I beat good kids like George Yup. But I think I had 44 in the end, winning something like 29 or 30. Sometimes it's a bit hard done by, sometimes not. I boxed some good kids, and the amateur game is just a bit of apprenticeship, really.
And you turned professional in 2011, so this will be, what, your 8th year as a professional now?
Yeah, it must be. God, time flies, doesn't it? Still haven't made a penny.
Well, this is boxing, isn't it? And a lot of people know, obviously, who follow the sport very close, that, it's very difficult to be a part of it. And, sometimes you're boxing for free, basically, and you're not even earning money off fights. Yeah. And I know there's a lot of fighters, including yourself, out there that have had to go through that experience. Taking it back to 8 years ago then, 2011, and you obviously you go into your first 4 fights, and you are, it was quite a bit of a mixture, weren't it? Like, your record in general's got a bit sort of mixture of fights against what people may say are more notable names in this day and age. Yep. But you got to your 4th fight, and you fought obviously Gavin McDonnell, who was also in his 4th, I think he was in his 4th or 5th fight. So you met him at a similar stage in 2012, and you picked up a points draw. Can you remember that fight well, and what happened in that fight?
Yeah, I can remember that fight well. I made the way to a right for the fight. I didn't really know who Gavin McDonnell was, to be honest, and I don't suppose he knew who I was. And I went in there. The first round, he was strong. He, stronger than me. He threw me to the floor, or I was bundled to the floor in the first round. But got up, I rallied back, and I think going into the last round, I was winning 2 rounds to 1. I think I won the first round, and I clawed back the second 2. And then the last round, to be honest, I was completely gassed. And he won the last round, and the draw was fair. I had no complaints at all. He was a nice kid. I met Jamie and Gavin McDonnell on a couple of occasions, and they've always been nice people. But that was a good fight. A draw was more than fair, for both of us.
And like I was saying about the record and about people you've been in with, obviously now when people look through the record and they look at some of the names you've actually been in with, and they think actually, you've been in with some guys that have really gone on to do some good things. Obviously, the most notable for me is probably Kal Yafai, and obviously you fought him. What's that? 6 years ago now. 6 years ago this year, you fought Kal Yafai, and obviously he's now a world champion, and looks to potentially go on to fight in unification fights going in the future. There's guys like Josh Wale on there. Another interesting fighter on your record is Michael Ramabelesta. Obviously, you fought Michael twice now. Obviously, you lost the first time on points, and then in 2017 you beat him unanimous decision, and now he's gone on to win the English, which is quite interesting. Given where you're at the moment, because you're on a really good run of 6 wins on the bounce at the moment as well. So would that be, asking the question really early on here, would that be something, possibly you'd be interested in the future? A rubber match with Ramabelesta?
Me and Michael, we've had a lot of beef on social media, and there's a lot of ill feelings from Michael towards me and my team, because the first fight I boxed him away from home. I lost by a point. With or with one, he gave it to him by a point. I said, you know what? It was a close fight. I hold my hands up, give him his dues. He got the win on paper. Move on. I moved on, carried on my boxing career. I never called him out. I never slated him. I never said a bad word. And then, we ended up working and living together and training together for a year or so before he moved up to Preston. And then we had that fight, and it was very, very comfortable for me. I won 8 of the 12 rounds very comfortably. I switched off a few times in the fight because I was so relaxed and so at ease. I never stepped out of second gear. I stuck to a game plan, and I won the fight unanimous. I've watched it back several times, and I've scored it every single time to me comfortably. And Michael come in, after the fight with the change rooms, and he was a bit downhearted. And my manager, Chris Saligal, was sat there taking my hand wraps off. He turned around and said, "Right, Chris," said, "Look," he said, he tried to build him up a bit. He said, "Look," he said, on anybody else's show, you don't know what the decisions might be. Yeah, trying to give him a bit of, because we've all liked him, we've all worked with him, we've been friends with him. So, we don't want him to be upset, it was a good fight, but he lost it. But, you know what decisions are like, and he was trying to build him up a little bit, give him some confidence. And then a few days later, he's slating us and saying that he was robbed. Oh. And then ever since then, he's just been non-stop, and since he's won the English, he's been calling me out non-stop. And it was only a couple of weeks ago we had a bit of to and fro on, social media. And to be honest, I'm fed up with it, Sean. I said to him, I said, "Look, if you put in the right offer, I'll fight you. I don't care. I beat you with ease in the last fight. I'll beat you with ease again. I'm a different fighter after 2 years." And, he started coming back, and it's got to a point now where I've just lost my respect for him. If I fight him, I'll end his career. I'm fed up, I want, if we fight, I want to do some damage because I've lost all my respect for him. For things that has been said, the things that, he said about me, calling me homophobic and things like that is disgusting. My sister's gay. My partner's sister and brother are both gay. I've got gay friends, So homophobic is not one of the things I am. But for him and his team, people around him, turn around and call me homophobic, that's very below the belt disrespectful. If we do fight, I promise you it'll be the end of his career. He'll be gone.
Do you think, Ash, that this, might just be like a little bit of a ploy to kind of, well, do what he's doing, really? He's obviously aggravating you to a point where you feel like, you need to kind of settle the score in the ring. And it's not just that. You guys, like I say, have both fought twice, and you've got to win. He's got to win. He's now got the English. So, like you say, if the money's right, I don't see why they wouldn't make that fight, because like I said earlier about your career, yeah, okay, on paper, people will look at it and go, okay, it's probably not far off a, pretty much like his, really, near enough like 50-50 record, but you've got to think about the depths of the division that you're in at the moment. You've had to fight guys like Ramabelesta and Josh Wale a couple of times because there's not that many fighters in the division domestically to go against, and obviously you've proven that you're at a certain level where you get to a certain level and you can beat certain guys, and then obviously, with all due respect, the guys that have kind of gone to another level of, you've picked up losses to, and they've gone on to do, bigger and better things essentially. But this is, for you, would be a fight where I think you've got 6 wins on the bounce now, 6 wins on the bounce, and he's just picked up the English title as well, and he only had, one fight after losing to you before getting in with Ryan Walker and picking up the English super bantamweight title. So you'd kind of, boxing politics playing a big part in that by, looking on paper, if you think about it. Like, you had this win in 2017, he took 6 months out, he comes back, he picks up a win and then gets that title shot. Surely, like, when you've had 6 wins on the bounce, you kind of expect yourself to be put forward for something like this as well, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, look, the thing is, like, you've got to look at who has boxed. He just won his last 2 fights. Credit to him. From hands up, good wins, good stoppages. But look, here they really are. In this anger. Before that fight, the best person he boxed was Paul Holt, who was a area champion. An area champion's a good belt. It's a good belt, and fair play to Paul Holt. He's a nice kid, and he's done well to win that. But an area champion isn't the level that we are at. We're a commonwealth, English, British level. There's a big gap between those two. So, Indy Sanger hadn't boxed at major title level. He was still relatively a novice, and Michael Ramabelesta is not a novice. He's been in with the names of the division. He's boxed at a very high level. So Ramabelesta's not a novice. So I'd expect Ramabelesta to beat Indy Sanger anyway. He done it in devastating fashion, knocked him out. But, like I say, Indy Sanger was still a novice, relative novice. No due respect to him, he's a good boxer. But experience is key in situations like these, where you're fighting somebody like Michael Ramabelesta, and he didn't have the experience. Then you go to Ryan Walker, same again. I don't know who the best he beat him was, but he only had 10 fights. You can look at his record. I don't know who his record is, but I don't think he had a proper name on there. So, once again, he was still a relative novice. Now, Ramabelesta caught him cold because of his experience. So, you can't go on and say that he's, had two great wins because there were two good wins, and now he's going out calling me out again. I've got that experience. I've been in the ring with world champions, European champions, British, English, Commonwealth champions. I've been in the ring with Michael, so I know what to look for. I know how to play his game. So, every fight you have, you learn from. Michael said he didn't perform in the last fight. I didn't let him perform. I knew what to look for. I'm not going to let him catch me with his big overhand right. Why should I? Why should I let him slip my jabs and get on the inside? Fuck that. I'm going to box to a game plan. I'm going to keep him where I want him. So he can't do what he wants to do. I'm going to win the fight.
I really hope that the fight gets made. I really do, because for me, I think this. I mean, I'm not the promoter, and I'm not doing the promoter's job. But when you look at it from an aspect of where you're both at the moment, you would say it would be a logical fight to make. And there's obviously a needle between the pair of years from what you've explained speaking to me today, and obviously that let's be honest, regardless of kind of what's been said, this type of stuff sells fights, and this is the type of a fight that could go on, a decent card where there's genuine beef between two fighters, where actually you could end up, being in a really, really good fight, the pair of yous. And this for me, this would be something I'd want to see for 2019. And I was going to ask you about this year and what this year holds for you, but it sounds very much like that. You've got Ramabelesta in your crosshairs at the moment, and he seems to be kind of, given what's been said on social, he seems to be the focus of your attention in terms of getting a fight and getting a big fight for this year.
Yeah, well, right now I'm just waiting my manager to confirm an opinion for me. I've had one name given to me, but it looks like they're pricing themselves out of the fight. But we're after the British title. That's what we want. We're talking to the board at the moment to make it mandatory for the winner of Wale against Foster. I think it's Brad Foster. So we're hoping the board will, make us the official manager for the winner of the British title fight. That's what we want. We want the British title. Now, I'm happy to box anybody that my manager puts in front of me. On my mind, I've already spoken to my manager and my team, and I want to fight Michael because of this beef, because of what I said, because he keeps saying he needs to put the record straight. It's bullshit, First fight was close. He got the win. Fair enough. Go ahead. You have to win. Get the credit. Do what you want to do with it. Second fight, I won. I've got the belt. Give me credit. Didn't give me credit. Fuck you, Excuse my language. We were mates. That's what really gets to me, Sean.
Yeah.
The fact that we were mates. We lived in the same flat together. We worked together, Give me my dues. I beat him. I didn't let him perform. I beat him, and I beat him comfortably. I could have done 20, 30 rounds that night at that pace. Now, he couldn't lay a glove on me. I think he hit me with like three or four punches the whole fight. He could not touch me because I didn't let him, I won it comfortably. And he's just been a sour grape, I'm fed up with it. If I don't fight him again, I won't be happy, because to me it's unfinished business too.
Definitely sounds that way. I'm not gonna lie. It sounds very much like that. That needs to be something, regardless of whoever your next fight is against and whoever he fights next. It sounds very much like this collision course needs to come to its head at some point over the next 12 months. And again, I keep alluding to the fact that I think it'd be a moneymaker fight, and I genuinely think it will be, because if they put this on, a Goodwin show or something like that, or wherever they want to put it on, or I think it'd be really good, and I think it'd obviously genuinely sell tickets for the pair of yous, and there's genuine sort of bad blood between yous. But you've kind of answered the question I was going to ask you, which was, what would you say your goals are for 2019? And you've said you're looking at British and looking at obviously the winner of Josh Wale and Brad Foster, which is something that would be good to work towards, because obviously I know previously you'd been in for the English against Ryan Farag, another name on the record who seems to have progressed quite well so far, and you've obviously been there, and you've been in the big fights. But it's good to see that you're still, it's a job. Being a fighter is a job, but you also have got the ambition to go far and still push to that level of British title, and that's kind of why I would say, regardless of what people may say about the fact you've got a record with 8 losses on it, you still are one person to watch this year, because you probably are going to be involved in some potentially really good fights.
Thank you very much. I will say this, back when I boxed Farag, Cullingham, Josh Wale, 2 years ago and beyond, I was shockingly bad. I was a bad boxer, I could put my hands up. I was crap.
What's changed?
I had no sort of defence, I mean, I got through a lot of my fights based on pure fitness, will and determination. I didn't really get through based on any sort of skill. It's only been this last year and a half since I've been working with my coach, Dean Lewis, down in Wale, near Western. Since we started working, that's when I've really started becoming a boxer. I mean, the changes in my boxing is just ridiculous now. I've got defense, I've got some boxing IQ, I understand boxing a lot more. I've got some ring craft now. I mean, the way I'm improving, I truly, genuinely believe I can win a British title, European, and even a world. That's, because for the first time in the last, 7 or 8 years, I've had a genuine, consistent coach. I haven't had a consistent coach for 7 years. I've been training myself for the last, 7, 8 years. I've had a manager, coach, up until this last year and a half, and now we're seeing the rewards. When the box Thomas Kindon started to run off, I was still training myself, but Dean Lewis did one pad session with me and then came up to the fight, and that was the start. He came up to the fight, he did a pad session. I said, "You know what, Dean?" I said, "Let's work together." Then he went away for 2 weeks. I boxed Economides. I got a close points win against him, and then we started working together after that fight, taking over, beat Andy Harris. Then our first camp was for Ramabelesta, and I improved even in that short 3 or 4 month space of time. I improved, and then just over this last year, the way I have just improved as a boxer is phenomenal. If anybody saw me in the gym, on the pad, sparring, on the bags, shadow boxing even, you'd look at me and think, damn, this isn't the same kid I saw a year ago. Everything I'm doing now is different, and but this is why I want the Josh Wale fight for the British again, if he beats Foster. But Foster's a good kid, very slick, very stylish, just hasn't boxed at the very high level yet. But that's why I want the win of the British, because I know I can beat them. I could not box well the first 2 times. The first fight's on YouTube, I was just a common forward fighting machine. The second fight, I had a little bit more boxing in me, but I just went in there fighting, and that's just not me anymore. I'm different. And if I was thinking about this earlier, if I had a 6-0 record or a 7-0 record, or if I was just starting off as a boxer where I am, I'd be a prospect the way I am now. I genuinely would be a prospect. But like I said, because my record, it's always been a 50-50 up until the last 6 fights, and nobody sees me as a record. Some people see me as an easy champion. Some people see me as a bit of a high risk for a little reward because of my record. So I'm stuck in no man's land in a way. But it's good that you say I'm one to watch, because generally this year and the next year I will be one to watch.
So going back,
I can say that with confidence.
So
go ahead.
Sorry, going back to you talking about training practically yourself over them first 6-7 years of your career. Could you honestly say you was 100% mentally in the game, or would you say maybe you was a little bit, you wasn't as fully focused as what you are now? Because from what I hear someone who's really kind of turned a corner in the career, and you've got with a trainer who's put 100% into you, and you've given them 110% back, and as a result it's shown, because you've won the 6 fights on the bounce since losing to Josh Wale in 2016, and in the process you picked up the vacant Commonwealth Super Bantamweight title. You've seen guys in the division go on to do different things, and just listening to you there, Ash, it sounds very much like, to me, you've got this sort of when people say pop stars reinvent themselves over the years, it kind of feels feels like you as a fighter has reinvented himself and has got this full focus on achieving goals that maybe a couple of years ago you probably thought were completely out of reach.
Definitely. I've always been with the boxing. I've always given my best and always done my best. But for one reason or another, I've never really had a coach. I've never really had somebody I can gel with and work with, in the gym. Somebody that I can build a bond with and we work very closely together. I've never really had that. Before, it's just gone in the gym, shadow box, bad, hit the bags and skip. I've never stuck to a strength training plan. I've never worked with a nutritionist on a continuous basis. I've never had a coach to work any sort of pads or I've had coaches here and there, like for a few weeks here and there, or a month or two, but I've never had a continuous coach that stuck with me and built a bond with me. Now we've worked to develop my style and improve up until this last year and a half. Now I train with my coach D now three times a week. Sometimes I'll come up to Bristol in the morning, train with me, and I'll go back to Western, train with him in the afternoon. Now we talk every day. We're friends as well as boxer and coach, and he's really worked hard with me to improve. Now I've given everything I could. He's given everything he can, and he believes I can win a world title. And for him to believe that, I believe in myself. And then, like I say, looking at people like Kal Yafai, like Josh Wale, like Jason Cunningham, and Ryan Farag, if they can't do it, why can't I now? I'm not even reaching my peak because I haven't had a coach for the last 6 years. So, I'll probably reach my peak when I'm 30. That's 2 years away.
Yeah.
Imagine, I've got this momentum. I can just keep on fighting and fighting. I'm in the gym, I'm sparring lightweight. I'm beating them up. I couldn't do that 2 years ago. I'd have my head smashed in.
So he's definitely having that stability with boxer and coach has definitely brought everything to your game that you didn't have before. And people that might listen to this conversation that we're having, this interview, and might think to themselves, how the bloody hell did Ash get through all them years fighting the likes of the names that he's had on his record and not really have a stable coach in his camp? People might actually sit there and think that, because I will be honest with you, Ash, I certainly sat there and thought, how's he managed it over these years? But yeah, he's been in there and held his own. It's not like, for me, it's not like people have done a big number on you or, dismantled you in sort of major fashion. You've kind of gone in there and you've hung it with the best of the division domestically, and now you've got this renewed reinvigoration, this focus. You've got ambition more than ever, and it's encouraging to hear. And like I've said, and I'll keep saying it, because people are just going to look at the record straight away and go, hang on a minute, how's Ashley Lane one to watch? He's had 8 losses on his record. It doesn't necessarily mean just because you've had 8 losses on your record that you're not one to watch anymore. I make a little comparison here for people that listen to this, that when you think of fights that have happened recently, you think of Derek Chisora and Dillian Whyte in December, and how many losses did Chisora have on his record going into that fight? I think it was about 6. And
I think he lost 6 out of his 7 or 8 big fights he'd lost.
Well, there you go. So that's what I'm trying to explain to the listeners of this episode that we're doing. That, okay, you're not a heavyweight, you're not Derek Chisora, but you're still in the same sense of you've been able to do something with your career where you're turning it around and stepping up the level and having people might not know this. People might not know the fact that you've not had a permanent trainer. There's probably people that are closer to you that know this information, but for the wider audience that listen, I think, hang on a minute, but the hell, he's done really well to get this far, considering he's not had someone stable in his camp for such a long period of time. And you're right in what you're saying, because since you've had stability, it's shown, because you've had 6 wins on the bounce since the loss of Josh Wale. So things are looking very much up for you, and I think 2019, if you get a fight with Ramabelesta or you get a fight with the winner of Wale and Foster, then we could see you on hopefully see you on a televised bill, and hopefully that'll bring you some good income off the back of it as well.
Yeah, that would be lovely. I'm looking up to the stars right now, because before this great run all started, I was on the verge of quitting. I had a meeting with Chris Hannigan and I was going to retire, Back in the past, I've suffered a little bit with my temperament and mental health, and in the lead up to a couple fights, I've been bulimic, and I've been in some real bad places in the last few years. And I say a year and a half ago, I was bulimic again. I was going to pull out a fight, and I was going to retire. And it all, the next fight after pulling out, the next fight after turning around and I was going to retire was a Kingdom fight. And it was only because Chris Hannigan turned around and said to me, don't retire, you can do much better than what you are. Just get back in the gym and train and get that head right. And then, I had the Kingdom fight at a week's notice, and that was when me and Dean started working together, and my head just changed. I just flipped, It's like, I was in a deep, dark, low place back in that March. And then in May time, it all just turned around, it was like a 360. And the start of this beautiful journey I'm on, it all just started then. And I can't wait to see how far we can go. I really cannot, I'm very positive about the future and about this career.
So have you got anything lined up that you can share, or is there any dates coming up that you know of that potentially you're going to get on?
Right now, like I say, I can't give nothing out. We've been in talks with a boxer about a fight in Bristol. They keep saying that they want to fight for my title on social media. They keep saying that, they're coming for more titles, blah, 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 blah. So I've offered them the fight. I offered them the fight over social media. They, pushed it to one side, said, we'll talk to our manager, we'll do it. He says, my manager offered this kid, his team, the fight. They've turned around and asked for stupid money. More money than what I get, and I'm the champion. That's just ridiculous. And then they also said that they wouldn't fight at the stadium that we'd normally fight at. So it's like, this one fight probably won't happen. This kid's this kid's team is pricing themselves out of it. So, I'll just go away and see what my manager's going to bring me. I don't care where or who. I just want to fight. Now, I want a big fight. I want to prove everything that I've been saying to you. I want to prove that, I am right. I want to prove that this is a journey. Now, I think it's that, that Tevin Farmer, the world champion, just like him. Just wait until I win that world title, that British title and European title. It'll be a story. It'll be on everybody's lips, but I'll do it. I really do genuinely believe that I can do it. If he can do it, I can do it. All you need is the right team around you. And I've got that now for the first time in my career. I've got the right team around me.
So by the end of this year then, what would you say your immediate goal would be to finish 2019 on?
British.
So a British title.
I'll defend my Commonwealth in March. I'll fight for the British in the summer. I'll be British and Commonwealth champion. Then I'll most likely defend the British once, then vacate and fight for the European by the end of the year. I'll be the European champion.
Well, I'll tell you what, it'd be some story, like you said, if you could really turn this around. But it's all positive stuff that, I'm hearing, and it makes me more encouraged to sort of see where your career goes from here on out. And like I said earlier in the episode, it might sound cheesy and cliche, but this is why I say, I think you are one to watch for this year, because I think your career's starting to turn itself on its head. And some of the stuff you've told me and this conversation, I wouldn't have known before, and I wouldn't have been able to find this information out from looking on social media or the internet. So it's good that you've been able to share this information and share this story with people that might actually get behind you a bit more now, and actually understand that there's a guy here who really wants to pursue his dream, and he's working hell for leather to get that dream. And going back to where you are at the moment, Ash, it's probably a perfect opportunity to sort of talk about like sponsorships. And I don't know what sponsorships you have in place. If you do have any, make sure you let them know who they are. If you need some more sponsorships, use this platform to do it. Let people know where they can find you as well.
Yeah, I have a great team of sponsors, on board. They all help me, I have got quite a few. I've got Gym Flooring, they're brilliant, always helping me out. I've got Polar Bear Windows, Egan Services for my car. I've got Harvem Limited Air Clothing, got Paul Tompkins Physiotherapy, got AK nutrition. He's my strength coach. I've got Raging Beast for my boxing kit. I've got Mindset Fitness, the PT, who's is actually my partner. She the man that she helps me out with. It'd be a shame not to put her on my kit because she's put hundreds into me from just looking after me. I've got a couple more. Mine's gone blank. They're going to kill me if they hear this. But
yeah, I think they'll probably know who they are, though, won't they, Ash?
Yeah, they know who they are. I've got Complete Paving from Bristol. Yeah, Complete Paving as well. But Tamlin's Barbers too. They all do a great job for me, looking after me. I couldn't do what I do without them. I really honestly couldn't. Their help, it means the world to me.
And if there's anybody that's kind of been inspired by this conversation, by what you've kind of overcome and where you're looking to go, if they want to, put forward any support for you in form of sponsorship or whatever it may be, where is it they can find you on social media?
Look for me on Facebook. I'm Team Flash Ash or Ash the Flash Lane is my page. You can find me on Instagram as well, Twitter. I don't really go on Twitter that much. It's I've got a very busy lifestyle, so I find it hard to go on social media quite a lot. I normally write a load of crap on there, to be honest. But, it's just fun. But I did forget one more sponsor, MJ Paints from Bristol. I gotta get them in as well. They've just come on board, so I appreciate their help.
So, guys, then obviously, if you've enjoyed listening to Ash, make sure you follow him, make sure you support him on social media. It's guys like Ash that really need your support out there to help get to that next level. And Ashley, it's been a pleasure to have you on, and I really hope this conversation we're having, it might stoke up a few things on social media with the Ramabelesta talk, but in the same sense, it might also give people an actual insight to you as a person as well, and some of the stuff you've gone through and some of the stuff you spoke about in this conversation. There's a lot of people out there that kind of go silent and in the dark and don't really speak about stuff, and that stigma around mental health is always there as well, and it's good to sort of hear you talk about certain aspects of your life in that respect and give people an opportunity to actually understand the way you are, because social media doesn't always portray you as the person you actually are, and that's why it's been great to have this conversation. So thank you for coming on.
No problem at all, Sean. And if anybody's got any questions or anything, just go on my social media. I've had a few people message me, quite a few, talking about their life and the issues that they've been through and mental health. So if anybody's got any questions or just wants to chat, hit me up. I'm cool. We've all been in bad times, been homeless and, on the verge of suicide and self-harming. So I know what it feels like. So yeah, just get in touch and keep an eye on me. Even if I don't win the world title, I'll still be an entertaining fight.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Right, Ash, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate your time.
No problem. Thank you very much.
There you go, fight fans. Hope you've enjoyed that interview there with Ash the Flash Lane, talking a lot about his mental health struggles that he's had to deal with, his ups and his downs through his boxing career, some of the calibre of fighters he's been in the ring with, and also talking about a grudge match with Michael Ramabelesta, which will be really interesting if that comes off. So definitely wanted to get this episode out as quickly as possible, because I know Michael has already seen the post that I put out on social media, so I'm hoping this might be a little bit of matchmaking going on for this particular fight. So if you've enjoyed it, remember to follow us on Apple Podcasts or Podbean. Find us on all the other available podcasting apps, and you can find us at BTR Boxing Pod and BTR Boxing Podcast on Facebook as well. So enjoy. See you next time, fight fans.